All right, how's this? Can you hear me now? Hopefully that's fixed. This is why we always do a mic and video check. Should be fixed now. Just drop this in the comments. Thank you all for your patience. I'll notice after the live stream finished. All right, here we go. So I was trying to show you the fountains behind me. Unfortunately, they've now finished because I didn't fix my audio, but that's okay. It happens. How you all doing? No, still not fixed? Some people are saying yes, some people saying no. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead as if it's working. All right, we've got a good live stream for you all today. We're all in a good mood because the market has shot up, which is always very, very fun. And actually, this move in the market did not take us by surprise. Again, those of you who are subscribed and who've been keeping up to date with what's going on this YouTube channel, you're going to know very well that we were talking just yesterday about how the market became a little bit more fearful. It's still definitely not fearful. We're still very much in that greedy territory right here, but we lost a lot of that extreme greed and we were dropping down a little bit. And I was really telling you guys yesterday how, you know, the market was losing a lot of its greediness while we were rising up. And this is what we need, right? We're not going to be making big moves to the upside while everybody is very excited and hoping for the market to go up. As long as we have those hopes and desires in this market, I think we're destined to go lower. But we don't have that, or we lost a little bit of it. And so Bitcoin ended up making another move to the upside. And this actually fell right in line with the analysis I showed you yesterday. Oh, look at this beautiful wick. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wish this actually happened on other exchanges. A lot of people noticed this wick down to 51. I'm pretty sure this was just a bug. I don't believe this was real at all because no other exchange reproduced this wick. My goodness, if it did, I would be in an amazing profit right now, but unfortunately I'm not even in a position. So I mean, other than actually holding my Bitcoin as normal, I'm not in a position right now. But what we did get is a very, very nice, I mean, just typical rising wedge where Bitcoin slowly trends to the upside, forms these higher lows, forms these higher highs, and then ends up breaking up, which is very, very nice. And what I have to point out to you guys right now, before I get onto why, you know, we could be looking at 173K, and you guys know, obviously, that's very, very far away, even if it does happen, you know, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But what I do have to get to just before that is actually talking to you guys about where Bitcoin is right now, because Bitcoin right now is literally right in its final area of resistance. You know, I've been drawing this, I've had this green box drawn for you guys for many months now to demonstrate where the resistance is in this market. And really, I mean, we had already broken the key resistance levels around here, like $53,000, around here, $47,000. These were always the key areas of resistance in the market, in my opinion. So I mentioned if we're able to break above this yellow line and then above this yellow line, we're probably going to go flying up. And we did that in both cases. So that was phenomenal analysis. Those of you who've been watching this content will have known this very, very well. And now we're right in another pocket of resistance. So this is another thing where it's channel is almost always a contrarian channel, and that's just how trading is, guys. I mean, 90% of people are usually wrong, and that's exactly why I'm, you know, I have to, you know, be a contrarian, because I don't want to be on the side of everybody. And of course, you know, while everyone's becoming a little bit more excited, obviously this index is going to update in about 6 hours. We're going to see this jump towards the greedy side a little bit more, I think. You know, people are obviously very happy. There's a massive event happening in Dubai, so everyone's really getting a little bit excited with Bitcoin just at the minute. But what I do have to warn you guys about is that this green box does represent resistance, right? And this is clear as day. There's not really much interpretation that goes into this, really. I mean, this resistance we've been expecting for a very long time. We enjoyed it as support, so obviously it has to be resistance this time around. And we can demonstrate this if I show it to you on the VPVR. Now, if you don't know what this indicator is, it is actually, this doesn't really show very well on the VPVR. If you don't really know what this indicator is, it is an indicator that visualizes where Bitcoins have been exchanged. So if you type this into the YouTube search bar and pause the live stream here, you can actually watch my free video on how to get and use this indicator. And what we can see right here is there is a little bit of a spike right here where we're trading at right now between $57.3 and $58,000. just indicating that basically there was a lot of trading that happened in this range. And obviously, relative to where we just broke out of, it's not really that much. I'm realizing now this was actually a bad indicator to demonstrate my point. But the key thing here that we need to keep in mind when we're looking for areas of resistance is where do we get reversals, right? And if we zoom in a little bit more into this range, which starts at 57 and ends at 60k pretty much, what we're really getting in this range is a lot of key reversal points in the market where the market rises up to this level and gets absolutely smashed back down. And actually, we're talking about big rejections. Not only are we talking about big rejections with time, although this was only a 7-day correction, we're also mainly talking about big corrections in terms of price drops. This was a minus 25% drop, so definitely something that you have to take seriously. Again, we're seeing a fair bit of rejections right here. Occasionally we break out and then we find a little bit of support, very, very short-term support, though you can barely even see it just with that one move up over there. And then again, some more resistance right here, right? We're getting some pretty clear top patterns. Again, another 16% drop. Look, it's just constantly resistance. It was constantly resistance for Bitcoin previously around Q2 of this year. And then eventually, it was actually this very same resistance level which sent Bitcoin all the way down towards $29,000. So again, we can measure this from high to low, and Bitcoin did drop from this level by 51%. So this was definitely an important area of resistance for the market, in my opinion. It was not as important as 53. So, I've always maintained my position here where as long as we break above levels like 53 and levels like 47, as I was pointing out a lot to you guys over these past weeks, we're going to be okay, in my opinion, right? So this is resistance, but I think the bigger resistance was already here. And the reason I think that this was bigger resistance is purely because Bitcoin actually had to overcome a prior swing high. Just in terms of real chart analysis, there's not a whole lot that makes 53 very intimidating. But when you consider that the market set a big high over here and then retraced massively for a significant matter of days, and of course a very significant percentage, well, let's just measure this again to put this into perspective, it fell down by 25%, but it lasted in this downtrend for 23 days, which is, a fairly substantial period of time. It is, if we zoom out, this is a big move in the market, very, very big move right here to be getting this retracement. So to clear this prior swing high, to me, that demonstrates all the strength in the world. That is all I needed to see, which is why you guys saw me so convincingly turn bullish as soon as we rose above 53. I just had no concerns, and it was always my position. It was always my position since Bitcoin kind of fell from 53 originally. And so, we do have a little bit of resistance here, but just seeing the areas we overcame before, I'm really not that worried about it. I'm not that concerned about where this resistance is overhead. It is still definitely there and it should be taken seriously, but at the end of the day, we did break the bigger areas. So to me, if we have enough strength to break the bigger areas of resistance, it shouldn't be a problem to break these, what I would consider to be smaller areas of resistance. The only real thing that I have to really draw to your attention again is just sentiment, guys. People are still bullish. Like I said, within 6 hours when this updates, this is going to flash even more towards the greed or extreme greed side of this index. People are very happy and excited. And if we just look at this rally in terms of days, this has been a very explosive rally. This is actually one of the more explosive rallies Bitcoin has seen in this market. There's not actually many that Bitcoin had since the big crash from 65 down to 30. We had this big rally, which took Bitcoin in 10 days up by 47%. Then we had another rally, which wasn't as big, so this doesn't really count. 8 days, we went up by 27%. But this current rally we're in right now, within 13 days, we're up by 43%. So this is definitely a very strong rally, somewhat akin to what we had right here. And that's what I really want to bring to your attention, is that, we are definitely, for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, getting towards these areas of being a little bit overextended. If I show you the RSI, which I almost never look at, we are now kind of entering these overbought territories now where, the market is, in my opinion, has just been trending up a little bit too much, a little bit too quickly. So that's my take right there in terms of where, some of the momentum might swing in this market. It's just the fact that we have now approached this area of resistance. It was always resistance, so this isn't taking any of us by surprise. We've been outlining it on this channel constantly right here. So none of this should be concerning to you guys. And by the way, thank you all for tuning in. If you are enjoying this live stream so far, please do smash up those likes. It helps the channel so much. It's a little click to you, but it is so helpful to myself and my team. So thank you all very much for your support. I love you all very much. If you haven't already, also do make sure to subscribe for this very clear, thorough analysis in these markets, this realistic and grounded analysis that you can definitely find in other places, but it is a diamond in the rough. It is difficult to find such realistic analysis out there. So if you guys do appreciate that, then those clicks mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much. And so, like I said, approaching this area of resistance while we're overextended, this is a recipe for things to go wrong. This is a recipe for a pullback. And the only thing really that can change my mind about this is, I mean, if the bulls really are being very irrational right now and they're going to be ready to blow the market higher, then of course, I mean, we can just absolutely blow through this resistance and go all the way up to that all-time high at $65,000. But the fact is, guys, I mean, in my opinion, it's not a fact, but my opinion is on this is if we're able to rise up that high, we're probably just going to blast straight through it and travel up towards 130. And why am I saying 130? I'm going to expand on this a little bit, but just very quickly, I want to talk about this now, and then I'll come back to it later on in this live stream. It's a very, very simple thought, and actually I'll demonstrate it to you on the Bitstamp chart. Yes, I don't have any drawings here. I mean, really, all I want to draw your attention to is Bitcoin breaking that all-time high at $20,000 way back towards the end of last year. So this is about 10, 11 months ago now. Bitcoin reached that $20,000 level very, very nicely. And as soon as we went above it, Bitcoin actually doubled this all-time high and then a little bit more before it started trending downwards again. And I can play this for you so we can visualize this very, very clearly. Let's just switch it onto the logarithmic chart so it's all a little bit easier to keep track of. And if we play this chart forward, we can see that it took up to $42,000 for Bitcoin to get its first real correction. See, up until this point, Bitcoin clears the all-time high at $20,000, and it's not really moving down very much. It does get this correction right here at 42, and this is the only real correction that the market sees after breaking above 20. We trade sideways temporarily, where I pulled a very nice 300% plus profit on the market. Those of you who are in VIP will remember that very well. So if you want to take advantage of that, the steps are on screen right here. Pause the video and ask me how to join. My team is online right now, so we can enroll you right now as you're watching this live stream. But we did manage to clear this area of resistance, consolidated only at 24,000, and the only time Bitcoin gets a meaningful pullback is at that $42,000, which means that as soon as we break that prior all-time high, we are doubling in price, and that to me is very, very significant. And if we actually take a look at where the market falls down to, it falls down to 30k, finds support here, and then almost immediately it doubles that level again, from 30k going up to 57, and then of course we know that it tops out at 64. So the market loves to double levels like this. It's a very clear trend which I've noticed, and many of you guys have noticed if you've been watching this YouTube channel as well. And so to me, the fact that we've had this big correction now, and actually what I really have to draw your attention to, which I was talking about earlier this year, and now it's time to start talking about it again, is that since the time of reaching this all-time high, Bitcoin has only had 120 days of being in a real bull market. Everything since then, we've been trading below the all-time high. Now we're only 11% below it, so it's crazy how these things move. But it has been 180 days compared to 120 days since we broke the all-time high. We've definitely been in a bearish state in this market, or perhaps not bearish, that's a misleading term to use, but we've been in a less bullish state for this market than you would expect, if we've just breached the all-time high. So to me, that means there's still going to be a lot of juice left in this bull market. And just to be clear, guys, I am saying this now while Bitcoin is at 57k, and it's very easy to love Bitcoin at a time like this, but this has always been my opinion, and this has always been what I've been telling you guys in this YouTube channel, is that, this market, as soon as we break that all-time high, and I've been saying this even when I thought Bitcoin was going down to $20,000, the analysis of this all-time high level did not change, and it was purely very, very straightforward that if we do manage to break that all-time high, given how Bitcoin loves to double these all-time highs when it breaks them, it wouldn't be surprising to me if we doubled 65, which would put us at 130. And then actually, if you've been paying attention and looked at the title of this live stream, I'm actually talking to you about Bitcoin going to 173. So I'll get to that in just a little bit when I cover some more of this core analysis that I want to deliver to you guys. But for me, one of the main things that I have to bring to your attention, for those of you who are just tuning in, thank you all very much for joining again. Make sure to smash up those likes if you are finding this live stream informative already, if you're already learning something, if it's calming you down, if it's giving you a better, healthier perspective on this market. We're all about making money in these markets, guys, right? Take a look at this VIP member right here who pulled a very nice 82% profit going short on the market. This person entered a short position at 42.7, and obviously in hindsight that was very close to the bottom of the market right here, but this person was still able to book an 82% profit and actually secured a lot of the profit before this picture was even taken. So doing very, very well. And the reason I'm showing this to you is just in this screenshot alone, this person had secured, or hadn't secured, but was sitting in a profit of 0.044 BTC extra, and this is obviously after taking 5/6 of this position off this table. So this person made much more profit than what's just in this picture. And what's great about this is even though this person was on the wrong side of the market, he has more Bitcoin today than he would have had if he hadn't joined VIP and if he hadn't taken this trade. And really that's always the objective, right? Bitcoin was trading at $47,000. I'm sorry, $57,000 on the 10th of May 2021. And if you had one Bitcoin here, and if you now have 82% more Bitcoin here, which is what this screenshot would lead you to believe, although of course that's not the whole truth, it would be a lot less than 82%. But if you had basically more Bitcoin today than you did back here, well, Bitcoin is at the same level, but you would be richer. And that is always the goal with trading, in my opinion. That's what I aim to show you guys, how I'm trying to achieve in these markets, what I'm trying to achieve and what I'm doing practically to get there, what trades I'm making, why I'm taking those trades, what levels I'm entering, and then all the real-time updates about how I'm navigating those positions as well, with all of the reasoning fully explained behind it as well. So it's a very, very powerful experience. And then of course you couple that with our 4Flies Academy course. This person had joined and gained access to that, and you are learning how to trade from the ground up as well, the way I do it. So to me, this is a very, very powerful package, and it has been for many, many others. You guys know the deal. But again, to me, it's all about, like I said, keeping yourselves grounded in the situation in the market. We have to take a step back and really just acknowledge the fact, ladies and gents, that Bitcoin has moved very, very quickly in this case. We are now in an area of resistance. Can we blow through the resistance and really just make a massive lightsaber candle to the upside? Absolutely, yes. Have we done that before? Absolutely. Yes, we've done that many times before, so we definitely cannot rule something like that out. This is very much something that the market loves to do at times like this. So is it possible? Very possible. Is it likely? Definitely likely. But I don't think that that means that we should all of a sudden ignore resistance, because this is very classic, very simple technical analysis, and oftentimes you will find that this is what works best in these markets. So this resistance stretches up to $60,000, and depending on how irrationally exuberant this market wants to be, we could end up rising all the way up there, and I will have my guard up as long as we are below 60. If we manage to rise above 60, I think we're going to be great, and I think we're pretty much going to have a very easy time rising up to that all-time high. Are we going to get rejected? Maybe, but I don't think so. I think Bitcoin can blow through that fairly quickly, perhaps one day of consolidation, perhaps one day of a pullback, and then straight up if we break 60. And if we actually just kind of trade sideways here, to me, that would be completely fine as well. If we traded sideways here for a day or a couple of days, ideally, I want to see a bigger correction right now, because what we had previously was not a very big correction. It was just a kind of, it wasn't even a sideways trading range. It was an ascending channel, which lasted about 4.5 days. Granted, we did just come out of a big correction, which lasted 23 days, but like I have shown you now, this rally is quite strong, and within about 11 days we have already rallied up by 40%. So this is definitely a very strong rally, and some sort of meaningful correction right now would be phenomenal. If we kind of came back down to kiss some of these old areas of support and then get a move back up, that would be phenomenal. I don't know if we're going to get it, honestly. I think the market is a little bit too bullish to give us something like that, but let's explore the possibilities anyway, because it's definitely possible, and it definitely doesn't look like it's going to happen in times like this, but that doesn't mean that we're immune from big drops, as this recent market should have taught you. If you didn't learn that so far, then you're not paying enough attention. These drops, they can come out of nowhere, and if you're not prepared for them, you're not going to be able to make money off these markets, and that is your job as a trader. It's not to be excited, it's not to jack yourself off to massive price predictions, it is to be prepared for moves in these markets so you can profit off them. That is your job in these markets, and it's not easy, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, but of course, if you're watching a channel like this, I'm basically doing all that hard work for you. So support on the 1 hour Ichimoku cloud looking very nice. We have managed to get some nice bounces off this. I was talking to you about this just yesterday, so it's nice to see that this helped. This shows Bitcoin enjoying some support around $54,000. That would be nice if Bitcoin is able to kind of dip back down into this area, potentially find a little bit of support, but the support is getting very thin. On the 4 hour time frame, within a couple of days now, not very far away, we are going to have some pretty good support if we start to get a bigger correction now. Now, if we do fall back down towards 53, we're starting to fall towards a 10% correction. That would definitely be what I would consider, entering significant territory for a correction in this market. So that would be very, very nice. Momentum pretty much showing us the same thing. Support stretching all the way down to 53. So this is all to say, ladies and gents, that if this market does somehow start to reverse right now, and obviously we're not seeing the nicest candle on the 4 hour time frame so far. We've still got an hour and a half left, so anything can really happen. But we could be looking at running out of strength. And one of the key things I have to point out to you is if we just look down here at volume, we're not actually getting a lot of buying pressure. This is a very typical story. It's the same thing I was warning you guys about when Bitcoin was topping out over here. Those of you who were subscribed back here, you're going to remember very well that I actually sold a lot of my Bitcoin around these levels previously. Not a lot, but I sold a significant portion of my Bitcoin around these levels previously to buy a house. I actually just wanted the money anyway. I would have sold it no matter where the price was. But one of the key things I was mentioning to you guys is that volume wasn't really following through, right? I mean, the price was moving up very, very nicely, but people weren't really buying Bitcoin. And if you're wondering what's happening there, where volume isn't moving up, but the price is, this is a very simple explanation, which hopefully is going to blow your mind if you haven't already heard me say this, which is very simply, and if you are going to find this useful, if you do find this useful, then please do hit up those likes once again. I have to ask for it. Is that in these markets, if the volume is not going up, if the volume is indeed in fact going down or stabilizing, but the price is moving up, you're really only getting one thing happening here, and it's not necessarily that people are very excited. It's not necessarily that people are bullish. They are bullish, don't get me wrong. But what you're not getting is a massive demand. This is not a situation where demand for Bitcoin is extremely high. It's just purely a situation where supply is really low. So if demand stays constant up here, but supply is very, very low, the price is just going to keep on moving up. And that's exactly what we saw before, which is, again, one of the key reasons I was selling my Bitcoin. Like I said, I would have sold it anyway because I wanted to buy a house. But in any case, this made me much more confident in that trade, purely because we can see very clearly here that the market was, there was just not a lot of confidence behind this rally while the price was going up. And we're in the same position right now. You cannot ignore this. If you ignore this now, you're just as stupid as you would have been over here if you didn't listen to me back then. And the thing is we can be like this for a really long time. The market stopped gaining buying pressure around like 36, and it still doubled, right? So we can still run this up to like $100,000, and what I'm telling you right now would still be correct. That's the nature of these extreme markets, right? I met up with a yearly VIP member today. Shout out to you, because I know you are probably watching this live stream right now. And one of the things he asked me is, where do I think this market is going to top out? And one of the key reasons I don't even like that question is, you can be kind of right about the timing for when the market tops out, but because these markets get so irrational towards the end of their cycles, even if you're off by, say, 1 month, the price can double in that month, just because it's exponential, which is another way of me saying that basically my point over here would be correct at 60,000. At 60,000 right here, just as much as it would also be correct at 100,000, which is why this is so unpredictable. But it's very important to keep this in mind, because it allows you to scale out of positions that you shouldn't be in, or at least take some profits, and at the very least, just have a better, more realistic grasp of what's going on in the market. That's, at the end of the day, what's most important, right? You've got real money on the line here. You've got your future and whatever, your kids, whatever on the line, and it pays to just have a more realistic approach in this market, right? We're not here to be hopeful. We're not here to, blow those flowers that represent good luck and hope and stuff like that. That's not what we're here to do. We're just here for realism. This market is going to crush you if you're not here for that. And at the end of the day, that's why I'm pointing it out to you. Is, previously, we weren't getting a lot of buying pressure. We were just getting zero selling pressure. So the price keeps moving up. But as soon as that selling pressure starts to come back into the market, take a look at what happens, right? We start to get these big sell volume spikes. We're not getting big buy volume spikes. So this is really, you know, these were the obvious warning signs right here, where when the volume does pick up, it's bearish volume, which is basically, like I said, there was no selling pressure. As soon as selling pressure starts coming back in, the market absolutely crashes because there was no buyers in the first place. You know, it was just, I mean, there were buyers, but there weren't as many as you thought there were. And so as soon as people start wanting to sell, you have that issue of supply and demand, where demand was up here, supply was down here, but supply starts rising up, and demand was never high to begin with. So we start getting a crash. And again, the reason I'm showing this to you right now is that we're in the same position right now. I mean, well, this chart is a little bit misleading because of this massive wick, but at the end of the day, I mean, you know, no matter which chart you're looking at, we're just not getting a huge uptick in buying volume right now, which is just, you know, and we don't need it. This is the thing, is we don't need it. And if you're a leverage trader, this is a very dangerous indicator to pay attention to. But if you're more of an investor and a holder and you just want to understand what's going on in this market, what I've just spoken about is very, very important. You know, this is yet again another example, and I know you're going to hate to face this, but I mean, this is what this channel is for. You either love it or hate it. This is just the reality of the market, ladies and gents, is that we're again not getting a huge amount of buyers right now. It's just that nobody wants to sell. So as soon as people start wanting to sell, given that there's not a huge amount of buyers, yeah, we're looking at big drops again. That's exactly why we got this drop, and that's exactly why we're going to get further big drops in this market. The market just hasn't changed. I mean, this is just how crypto's been for a long time. We're going to make big strides to the upside, and we're going to get absolutely destroyed on the downside again. It's happened before many times. It's going to happen again. You are kidding yourself if you don't think that that's possible. So I think that's very important to keep in mind right there as we approach this area of resistance. You know, we are definitely, you know, being quite aggressive here. We are in an area of resistance. Support is here, but it is a little bit lower, like I have shown you right here on the Ichimoku cloud. It's at nice levels. I mean, it stretches all the way down to 48. So, I mean, you know, like I said, this market can really take a very nasty dive to the downside, and we're still going to be in very safe hands, in my opinion. The daily time frame Ichimoku cloud looking phenomenal for Bitcoin right here, stretching all the way up to $49,000 as well. So you know, no matter what time frame you look at, Bitcoin is in really good hands if it starts to drop down right now, and I think that is definitely giving me a fair bit of confidence. And all we need right now, for me to feel a little bit more bullish, is a little bit of a correction, perhaps trading sideways, perhaps moving down. And the reason you always hear me saying this is because we're moving up so quickly. So I mean, these moves are just not, they're just not sustainable. You know, and when they're not sustainable, you get big crashes like this. It's just the reality of the market. I mean, you're going to have a very, very nice ride up, and then you're going to have a very miserable few months afterwards. So you know, what I'm saying is there to protect you from that. And overall just give you a more stable platform for mental health and and account growth, really, because that's what I'm all about. Oh, fountains are going off behind me again. So very, very cool. Take a look at that. If you're new to the channel, we're in the Burj Khalifa, which is obviously in the very center of Dubai, and yeah, we get the fountains going off every half an hour. So very, very cool stuff right there. As we're in this live stream, it's a very cool little feature of this stream that you don't see every single day. So yeah, support looking really, really good. And the next thing that I want to draw to your attention before I start going through your questions, and if you do have questions, then please start dropping them in the comments now as you hit that like button, and subscribe if you're new to this channel as well. The next thing that I want to bring to your attention is this, I don't know what you call this, like a fractal or arc of Bitcoin's price action. And this one is definitely quite significant. You know, we're looking at a pattern that Bitcoin has been stuck in for a very long time now, stretching all the way back to, I mean, 2011, 2012, you know, where we've constantly been using this arc as resistance and this arc as support. You know, and right now this does represent a bottom of probably around $15,000-$20,000, but it represents a top, if we're able to kind of rally all the way up here, of about 173. And I mean, this I could may as well just be pulling numbers out of my bloody ass right now. I mean, this is the most unscientific analysis I could ever give you. And I'm telling you this point blank right now because I don't want you to get super, super excited over nothing. But at the end of the day, this is a pattern that Bitcoin is following, and it does represent where Bitcoin loses momentum. Really, that's what these yellow lines, that's what the top yellow line indicates, is where it loses momentum, and the bottom yellow line indicates where it gains momentum. And so this is a representation of when Bitcoin potentially gets a little bit overextended. And really, the key reason I'm showing you this chart is not for this big headline of 173. I mean, obviously, it makes for a nice YouTube title, and you guys know I have to do this. It's just part of the game. But you know, at the end of the day, the main reason I want to bring this to your attention right now is to represent to you again what I told you earlier on in this live stream, where I showed you that actually you know, Bitcoin hasn't really been trending up for a very long time since breaking the all-time high at 20k, only for 120 days, and since then we've spent 180 below the prior all-time high. This is a really long time for Bitcoin to spend below an all-time high when it's just broken a major all-time high. I mean, this is a very abnormal bear market, and so what I was saying to you is that I think Bitcoin is probably going to have a lot more steam left in it to start rallying up towards 100,000 and beyond, you know, like I said, to double the all-time high, which would put it at 130. And this chart just visualizes for you pretty much the same point, which is basically that when Bitcoin gets very bullish, right? Take a look at this, what's happening right here. Bitcoin usually extends really far with its momentum and really picks up massively up towards the top of these yellow arches right here. I mean, it really does just blow off very nicely, you know, but we've not really done that in this cycle so far. You know, Bitcoin hasn't really, you know, moved up in as extreme of a way when you eyeball it. It hasn't moved up in as extreme of a way as it has done previously. And this is just by eyeballing it. Like I said, this is just by, you know, looking at a picture and you know, I mean, that's very obvious. We haven't moved in as extreme of a way because we haven't hit the top yellow line yet. You know, and this is, again, it's just a representation that Bitcoin has not extended itself as far as it can in these bull markets. And you know, I mean, that like I said, this is one way to eyeball it, to visualize it, but there's other ways we can measure this numerically. You know, like Bitcoin only, and I say only, this is still fantastic, but only rising above the all-time high by 238%, or a 3.4 times increase, which was phenomenal. Very nice to see indeed. A nice increase to see from that previous all-time high, but only a 3 times increase. And you know, in these bull markets, we're expecting something closer to 10x. So again, it's just another way of me saying that basically, while you know, on these shorter time frames, we might definitely have a little bit of resistance, and there's a lot of reason to just reel your excitement in. In fact, you should never have excitement. If you're ever feeling excited, or if you're ever feeling upset or worried in this market, you probably have too much money in, and you definitely have too much emotional investment in here, and that is going to hurt you. I'm speaking from personal experience. Hopefully you can see the pain in my face right now, because I have ruined my life multiple times with not learning this lesson soon enough. So hopefully you don't make those same mistakes as I did. And you know, there should never, this is one of the key things I teach VIP members right from the beginning. As soon as you join VIP, I give you a welcome video, and one of the first things I tell you is that there should be no space for happiness or sadness in your trading. If you have space for that, then you also have space for your decision-making skills to be compromised. So that is very important. And you know, I mean, that's just me telling you what to do, but then telling you how to do it as well. We go very deep into these ideas inside of 4Flies VIP. It's not just something where I show you which trades I'm making and I show you how I'm navigating my profits and my losses. It goes very far beyond that, and that is why we're seeing such beautiful results from VIP members. You know, we're not just, you know, showing them how I'm trading. We're giving you so much more beyond that to really build you into a very competent, safe, you know, consistently profitable trader, or at the very least, the minimum objective, which we've hit so well inside of VIP, is that you won't be losing money. And that is very important, because the first step in making money in crypto is not losing money, and most people really mess up on that first step. So again, first link in the description, then at 4Flies, then send message to ask me how to join. Thank you all very much for tuning into this live stream. We're at 900 viewers. Smash up those likes once again if you are finding this live stream useful. I have covered for you that $173,000 price prediction and why it's there, and it's purely just to demonstrate to you that Bitcoin hasn't really you know, exhausted all of its potential in this rally, in my opinion, especially going off how it's performed historically. And so to me, that's definitely a very clear sign that we could be looking at a nice rally coming if we do break that all-time high. And then when we zoom in a little bit shorter, all I'm saying here is that we are probably reaching some levels of becoming overextended. We are in an area of resistance. Can we blow through it? Absolutely yes. Is it likely? Yes. But at the same time, this is resistance, so it pays to become cautious around these areas. That's what I'm saying, right? And so up until about 6 60k. I am going to be cautious unless we get some sort of correction right here. I will not be surprised if we blow straight through it. It's very possible because this area is just not as bad in terms of resistance as 53 or 47 was, in my opinion. And so I really just can't be too worried about it. But at the end of the day, it is still resistance. So, you know, a lot of people have trouble understanding these things, and that really does hurt them in the long run. So hopefully, again, I am saving you from some of that pain. But I want to jump over to your questions now. I have spent quite a lot of time talking about this market and my analysis that I'm seeing, but I do want to take a look at what you guys are asking me now. And as I'm going through your questions, you can just keep on dropping them here. Make sure you write my name, type in @SammyLoyal, that's my YouTube channel. Type in @SammyLoyal so that I actually see your comment. If you don't do that, I can't guarantee I'm going to read your comment, but if you do that, I can guarantee that I will read your comment. So if you really want me to read it, then make sure you write the @ symbol like your email, and then type in my name, and you'll be able to comment directly so I can see it. And then once I've done that, I will switch over to some more altcoin analysis, because I know you guys want to know my thoughts about markets like Ethereum, which have tanked, really losing a lot of you know, strength against Bitcoin. And I was warning you guys about this, you know, just going back just a week ago, I think, not actually that long ago, yeah, less than a week, just a matter of, you know, 4 or 5 days ago. I was warning you guys about this in this market. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about what I'm seeing in the altcoin market, but in short, I'm seeing a shitload of opportunity right now. I'm really seeing a lot of opportunity in this market right now, and I do not want you guys to be missing out on that. So I will talk to you all a little bit about that shortly, but for now, I do want to start going through your questions, so bear with me while I try to illuminate my face so you can see me a little bit better as I go through these questions. So here's an important one. A lot of people think that I flip-flop with my analysis and I change a lot, and you know, I wanna acknowledge this one for, you know, for those of you who are new to this channel, those of you who've been around, you know the deal. But you know, I do short-term analysis, and the short-term trend changes a lot. And that's why you'll see that I do, you know, I can be very bullish one week and then not so bullish or even bearish the next week, and vice versa. That's just because the trend changes with the short term. The long term trend is always the same. It's fairly bullish. And you guys hear that when you hear me talking about the long term trend, it's actually very stable, but the short term trend does change. So a lot of people who call me out for being someone who flip flops and changes opinions, you're just not paying enough attention. You know, when I talk about the long term trend, I'm almost always bullish. When I talk about the short term trend, it's just whatever the short-term trend is showing me. And, you know, at the moment, the short-term trend is looking very good. And when we were trading down, it wasn't looking good. So that's just how analysis works, unfortunately. You know, the short-term trend, this is a short-term trend, it's moving down. This is the long-term trend, which is moving up. My long-term analysis was always bullish. So again, I think this is just an issue of concentration and paying attention. And the other thing to really keep in mind is that, you know, while I am definitely more bearish today than I was yesterday, I'm bearish and bullish at the right times. You know, I was bullish yesterday because people were losing their greed, and people were becoming a little bit less, you know, certain, a little bit more anxious about the market while we were trending up. But now we're in an area of resistance. So, you know, from a technical perspective, this isn't me being an emotional analyst or anything like that. From a technical perspective, we're at resistance. So if I wasn't becoming a little bit more cautious, if I wasn't becoming a little bit more bearish, I wouldn't be doing my job correctly. You know, it's okay, and it's actually right for me to be changing my analysis as the market moves through these levels, because we are exhausting, you know, the potential for this rally. The potential for this rally has always been, you know, kind of from 40 to 47, maybe 53. And if we clear these levels, of course, it looks much nicer. But as soon as we approach these areas of resistance, like we're in right now, well, guess what happens at resistance? We get rejected and we fall down. That's what typically happens. Sometimes we get the breakouts, but a lot of the time we don't. Look at this. We're getting, and it just, I mean, just to put this into perspective for you, if you didn't have this approach, how many times you would be wrong versus how many times you'd be correct? You'd be wrong over here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth time you would be correct, and 6 you would be incorrect. So you would have a 1 out of 5 success rate right there. I'm sorry, you'd have a 1 out of 6 success rate right there, which would put you in a very bad place. So, you know, being bearish at resistance levels is an extremely smart thing, in my opinion. And you know, changing your analysis as you approach different areas in the market is exactly what you're supposed to do if you're a short-term analyst. You know, if you're not, then it doesn't really matter. But I am, and that's what you guys come to this channel for. All right, let's see what questions we have here from Kai Johnson. On the 4-hour time frame, we are not in consolidation. On the 30-minute time frame, we are. Yeah, so I mean, if you zoom in, you know, close enough, of course, I mean, you'll start to see, you know, this market, you know, has basically moved up, is trading sideways, potentially getting ready for that next leg up. But again, I mean, these short-term time frames, they're not, I mean, this is really short-term on the 30-minute. You know, 4 hours kind of what I want to stick to. And just largely speaking, you know, put it this way, right? We had a very clean rally for Bitcoin from 30,000 to 53, and then a very, very clean correction. I'm looking for something that, you know, is going to cut deep, perhaps not like this, but maybe only half as bad. So maybe, you know, lasting half as much time, or only dropping by half as much, or perhaps it's a very sharp drop but it recovers very quickly. You know, that's what I want to see in this market right now. You know, and the 30-minute time frame, yes, we are getting a correction, we are getting some consolidation, but it's just not long enough of a time frame to be important to me, for my opinion. Sarah here really acknowledging the same point I just made to you guys in this live stream of the past few minutes. Glad you're able to adjust between bear and bull as the market changes. Some don't understand that it's not about personal attachment to coin. Yeah, I mean, you guys, if you've been watching for a while, you'll know this very well by now. I have zero personal attachment to Bitcoin. You know, I would love for Bitcoin to go up because I hold a lot of it in terms of my net worth. A very large percent of Bitcoin, a very large percent of my net worth is Bitcoin. So I have a massive vested interest in Bitcoin going up, just as much as you do, maybe more. And so I would love it if Bitcoin goes up, but at the end of the day, the market isn't going to do what my portfolio wants it to do. The market is going to do what happens at areas of resistance and support. And I mean, it's just one of those things where either you accept it or you don't. And if you don't, have fun staying poor. And if you do, welcome to the world of trading. This is how it works, ladies and gents. Would it be foolish to enter a trade during this consolidation period? Well, I'm not your financial advisor, so I can't answer that for you, but what I can definitely say is that we are at an area of resistance, so this is the last place that I would be wanting to enter along right now. I would definitely consider entering along above this area of resistance, but you might get caught on a fake out like this, and the market has been doing a lot of these fake outs lately, so I definitely would not rule that out. So going long above this resistance doesn't look super clean to me either. I won't tell you exactly what I'm looking for my next trade, because that information is always reserved for VIP members, where I share those updates with you guys inside of our VIP group, telling you exactly what I plan on trading and why, what levels I'd be entering, what's stopping me from entering those things, and what's making me actually decide, yeah, I think it's worth the risk, and different things like that. Very, very important stuff going on right there behind those closed doors and VIP. So if you want it, these are the 3 clicks to get yourself inside while you're watching this live stream right here. Let's see what else we have here. Great analysis as usual. Thank you very much. Cheers. I always enjoy and appreciate the videos. Thank you very much. What about altcoins? They don't pump with Bitcoin, but dump times 10 with each Bitcoin small dump. Yeah, so I've actually covered this quite a lot on this YouTube channel, but I'll go through it again in a little bit. First, I want to go through these questions, then I'll start talking about why the altcoins are so weak. Those of you who watch this channel regularly, you'll already know what I'm about to say, so I'll just go through it quickly when I do talk about it shortly later on in this live stream. I do actually have to get going relatively soon, by the way. This has been a very quick live stream. I mean, it's already been 40 minutes, but somehow these 40 minutes have gone by very, very quickly. Someone here saying, I missed Dubai. I was there in August. I will be back. My God, if you were here in August, you are a warrior. Dubai is amazing right now. Everyone is here. Everyone's flying in if they're not already here. So, I mean, if you have the means to be here, you have the financial means to be here, and you're not, definitely get yourself over here. It is a great place to be. But fair warning, it is bloody hot. Like, it is painfully, it's not painfully hot, but it, like, you will feel sick if you spend too much time out walking about and stuff like that. I've woken up with what feels like food poisoning for 2 days in a row now, because I'm not learning the lesson. I'm being an idiot doing workouts out in the heat of like 35 degrees but like 100% humidity. So it's definitely not nice right now, but you should get yourself out here because winter is getting started and Dubai always pops off around this time of year. So definitely do come back. Where am I looking for an entry for a position? I can't say. I'm gonna save that for VIP, but I mean, you guys probably have a good idea of that already. I've basically been saying I want a correction, so it's fairly self-explanatory. Give me a date when it's going to crash. Absolutely not. I have no idea. That's a very interesting comment. What are your thoughts on the stock to flow model on Bitcoin? I don't understand the stock to flow model. I researched it once before years ago, didn't understand it, never looked at it since then. So I don't actually know. I have to take another look at it. Maybe I would understand it now. Forflies, is this one of the weirdest consolidation periods we've ever had? Why does the price keep going up very slowly? This is not weird at all. This is actually like exactly the same. What we're seeing right now, look, we're getting a quick zip up, consolidation, quick zip up, slowly moving up, and then quick zip up. This is exactly the same as what we saw right here, right? We're getting a very big move, slowly moving up, quick zip up, consolidation, quick zip up. So this is very, very typical for Bitcoin right here, which is exactly why I'm saying, you know, we could just blast right through this resistance. I mean, we have everything we need to do it. It definitely wouldn't be smart or healthy for the market, but that doesn't matter. Bitcoin doesn't do healthy things. And like I said, one of the key things you have to keep in mind right now, ladies and gents, just the same as I was warning you when the market topped out over here, is that there's no real selling volume in the market right now. There's not many buyers, but the market is primarily moving up because nobody wants to sell. And as long as people are able to carry that same bullish sentiment forward, and what makes them carry that sentiment, by the way, if you're wondering what makes people very bullish in this market, it's purely whatever happened yesterday. If the market was bullish yesterday, or I mean, yesterday is a metaphor, it could be last week or last month, but whatever happened recently, if the market has recently been exciting, well then it's a spiral. And that's where things get crazier and crazier. So very important to keep that in mind. We're not moving up because a lot of people want to buy Bitcoin. We're just moving up because nobody wants to sell. And I mean, that's just going to keep strengthening the more we move up. So that's why we get such explosive moves to the upside. But that's why as soon as a little bit of selling pressure does re-enter the market, that's why we get such big crashes. You really need to be aware of this, guys. It doesn't matter if Bitcoin goes to 100,000 or 500,000 or 20 million. You know, you need to keep this grasp of reality, because if you don't, you're going to end up losing your money anyway. You can run your $10,000 up to 50 million, and I promise you with all of my heart that you will lose every single dollar of it if you don't keep a grasp of reality. You have to do it. You have to. It's not a choice. And that's why I talk about this stuff so much on this channel. You know, people hear me saying this stuff a lot on this channel and think I'm very bearish. It's not the case. I'm super bullish about this market. I told you guys today why I think we're headed to 173, or at least definitely 130 very soon. You know, I definitely am very bullish on this market, but I have to, I feel a social responsibility to remind you guys of, you know, how this stuff can go wrong, because we just don't give enough. You know, there is an unhealthy amount of attention given to this side, the bullish side, and a very unhealthy amount of attention given to the bearish side. And we need to be a little bit more balanced and objective with our analysis as much as we can. What is the possibility that 57k holds? Fairly high in my opinion. I mean, you know, I mean, it's looking very nice right now. We are actually getting a little bit of a rejection right here on the 4-hour time frame. So that's not looking great, but you know, I mean, I wouldn't, you know, look, like I said, you know, we did kind of have this pattern right here. We did come back down to test it, so we've already back tested old resistance and we found new support here and continued moving up. You know, that's exactly what we need on the smaller time frames. We are probably already enjoying support. No, not really, actually. I mean, I think even if we lost 57, we're not going to be dropping by much. I don't think. I'm not sure, actually. It's hard for me to say. The thing is this market would stay bullish even if we dropped all the way to like 47, 48. This market would stay bullish if we dropped to bloody $40,000 right now. So, you know, it's in a very, very good place. I don't know if we're going to hold 57. It's a very weird range that Bitcoin is in right now. But what I do definitely know with a little bit more certainty, or what I think with a little bit more certainty, is that, you know, if Bitcoin did get some quite catastrophic drops right now, it would only be a good thing. I mean, it would only be really good for this market to really move in those ways. So that's I think that's very important to keep in mind. Someone's mentioned that on Bitstamp I said this was a wick, potentially a bug. I don't know if it was a bug, but what I do know is that this wasn't reproduced on other exchanges. So you know, it's definitely much more likely to be a bug, and if it's not, well then it represents a flaw in the exchange, because for some reason liquidity was absolutely terrible on Bitstamp but not on other exchanges. So that might not be a bug in terms of bad programming, but it's definitely some sort of flaw if it's not represented on other exchanges. You know, it's just abnormal trading. And at the end of the day, if your exchange is pulling big wicks like this, that's generally a very bad thing. So you should reconsider where you're trading. And that's why I use Bybit. I mean, it's one of the safest, most consistently, how do I say, reliable exchanges I've ever used in this market. I've been around for like 4.5 years in this market now, and I've settled with these guys. I've been working with them for years because I love what they do and I love how they do it. Check them out with the link down below. This is the only exchange I use for my trading these days. It's the only ones I have been using for these trades. And if you want to sign up to it and gain a little bit of extra money, my link in the description is also going to give you some extra cash for free when you make your first deposit on the platform. So depending on how much you deposit, and you can withdraw your money straight away, but depending on how much you deposit, you're going to get some extra cash credited into your account as a thank you. And you can do whatever you like with that cash. You can trade with it, you can gamble with it, whatever you like. If you make money with those extra cash, you can withdraw the profits on it as well. So that's very, very cool. And then of course, I've got my tutorial for Bybit also in the link in the description down below. So definitely check all of that stuff out. If you are curious about this stuff, you can just pause the live stream and come right back here. Sarah's commented here, if you enter in the consolidation zone, make sure you choose your stop loss carefully. I personally wouldn't. Yeah, the thing is, I mean, the risk to reward is terrible right now for a long position, in my opinion. I mean, we're literally in resistance right now. So if I was targeting a long, I mean, my first profit level would have to, my first take profit would have to be at, you know, a 5% profit, which is actually pretty nice. I mean, a 5% profit is a nice profit move, especially with leverage. I mean, 5% on its own is very boring, but, you know, if you're playing with 5 or 10x leverage, it's going to be a very nice profit. You know, it's literally going to be multiplied by 5 or 10 times. And again, if you don't know how that stuff works, then we, you know, break it all down for you inside of VIP. But at the same time, you know, for a stop loss, I would want it, you know, kind of, you know, below this prior consolidation, which means that my stop loss would be perhaps 7.5% down. And I mean, that's a terrible risk to reward, where essentially I have less reward to gain compared to the risk that I stand to take on in that trade. And that's, I mean, that's a very technical approach to understanding how to enter a trade. You know, what this channel is all about is analysis. The other side of this, the other hand to this game, the other 50%, you know, this is the you know, the analysis is the car body, the trading is the engine, and that stuff is all happening again within VIP. So I don't talk about it too much on this channel, but I do break it down for you. So if you enjoy the way I teach you this stuff and you want to, you know, kind of learn more from me personally on these topics, then again, you know, you can see all of that right there. But hopefully that does help a little bit with those stop loss questions. For someone with not much money, would you recommend altcoins? I don't recommend anything, Kai. Sorry, I'm not your financial advisor. Nick, should I sell all my altcoins for Bitcoin? Such as, I'm not your financial advisor, guys. Why are you asking me questions like this? You already know the deal. I won't tell you what to do. Don't ask. You're just gonna you're gonna put me in an uncomfortable position. Stan says he loves the way I say a lot. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Femex had a similar wick. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I haven't used Femex for a while. I do love the exchange. I just haven't used them for a while. You absolutely have to study the stock to flow model. It predicted the 29k after 65, and then the 39.5 and 53 in September. Very cool, Ben. Okay, cool. I'll take a look at it. Let me just Google it right now so I don't forget. Stock to flow model, Bitcoin. I'm just wondering if there's like a chart for me to take a look at, just so I can quickly give you guys my thoughts on this. But I don't. Okay, so this is showing. Yeah, I don't understand this stuff. I'm gonna have to research this in my own time, because I don't want to waste your guys' time on this live stream right now. Yeah, let's take a look at, did I get liquidated a lot initially? 100%. Yeah, I was a terrible trader when I started out. But I want to start taking a look at some of these altcoins, and then I do have to run. So if you are finding this live stream useful so far and you're excited for me to go into these altcoin bits, then again, hit up those likes, show some support to the channel. Really do appreciate it all. Thank you all very much. Ethereum has really dropped through the floor here. You know, we're seeing the same picture with many of these other altcoins. Take a look at Cardano against Bitcoin as well. It's just falling through the floor. It's losing all of its key support. If Cardano loses this support right now, which it already has lost, but if it convincingly breaks below this support at 0.00038 satoshis, then I mean 38 BTC, then we are looking at potentially a much bigger drop, perhaps towards 3,000 Satoshi. So we're looking at potentially a 20% drop. Let me just calculate this just so I'm being accurate for you guys. Yeah, this is about a 16% drop. Definitely something fairly substantial for this market. If we do end up kind of falling down to those levels, if we lose these areas of support. And why are we seeing this? Well, it's plain and simple, guys. I've been warning you about this for so long in this market. This is the reason I don't entertain altcoins very much. It's purely, when Bitcoin is very bullish, we have to first understand why people enter the altcoin market. I think this is very important, and a lot of people, a lot of people just don't like acknowledging this reality, which is very simply that people only enter the altcoin market because they want to make money. People do not buy coins like Cardano or Shiba or Doge or Ethereum because they believe in the tech. People buy it because they want to make money. And if you think that's not true, or if you disagree with me, then you're probably lying to yourself. Why is this focused on my microphone? But yeah, you are probably lying to yourself if you can't accept those realities that you're only in a lot of these coins because purely because you want to make money. No one's buying fucking Pancake Swap because they want to do atomic swaps with their cryptos. They're buying it because they want the 110% APY. They're buying it because they want the massive speculative gains. And the fact is, ladies and gents, I mean, the altcoins are a very bad way to get those gains. They're extremely what do you call them? Volatile. They're very subject to manipulation. They're weak. I mean, when the market is weak, they absolutely just shit the bed. They break the floor and they fall off a cliff. It's very typical, and that's those ways I just described altcoins. Bitcoin doesn't have those same vulnerabilities as much. Bitcoin does definitely have a lot of those same vulnerabilities, but not nearly as much as the altcoins. So when Bitcoin starts rallying up and we're making nice strides to the upside, there's no longer any reason to be in the altcoin market. If all you're looking for is a speculative gain and Bitcoin is giving it to you in a much more safe and predictable manner than the altcoin market, well, you're just not going to be interested in the altcoin markets. You're not going to buy them. You're only going to be buying Bitcoin. So the time we see these altcoin markets blowing off is when Bitcoin stops blowing off. It's when Bitcoin starts trading sideways right here. And we can see this really clearly. I'll demonstrate this for you right now on video, just so you really get the point. I'll demonstrate it with two coins. First one I want to show you is Ethereum, because I know this is definitely the case, is as soon as Bitcoin starts trading sideways, take a look at this. I mean, it's clear as day. I really couldn't make this any more clearer for you guys right here in this live stream. Bitcoin largely trading sideways right here. But take a look at when Ethereum really starts blowing off. I mean, Ethereum really takes a big leg up over here, really moving very nicely over here and over here, right? So let's just break down these dates for you. This is 27th of February 2021. Bitcoin is moving up. Don't get me wrong. Bitcoin moves up quite nicely, but Ethereum moving up much better. And actually, let me just remove this line. This isn't even the most impressive one. It's just these two red lines right here that indicate where Ethereum really goes crazy. Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, by only a fraction of only a fraction of what Ethereum does right here. I mean, Ethereum tops out at 2,000 and then rallies all the way up to no, this is not the right scale. Hang on. It breaks out from 2,000 and rallies all the way up to 2,500, which is, I don't know what that is. That's like 25%. Is that 25%? I don't know what that is in percent, but I think it's 25% from 2000 to, I'm really bad at math. I dropped out of school. I'm terrible at this stuff, but I think that's a 25% move, and comparatively Bitcoin only goes up by 5%. So Bitcoin largely trading sideways, but that's when these altcoins really start to shine. Bitcoin, and it's usually right at the end. It's usually right at the end of when Bitcoin is trading sideways and it's about to crumble. That's when we see the biggest gains, right? So again, on this red line right here, this marks the bottom for Bitcoin. Bitcoin from this bottom to its high rallies up by 26%, but Ethereum comparatively goes from 2,200 to 4,000. 4,300. So, while Bitcoin goes up by 26%, Ethereum nearly doubles, and it's always right at the end. So, the reason we're seeing this happening in these markets is that the speculative gains have been enjoyed in the Bitcoin market now, and people are very greedy. This is real gold I'm dropping on you guys right now. So if you didn't already know this, then here you go. This is absolute gold, gold dust that you're getting right now. Again, the fountain's going off behind me. So beautiful. So nice to see. Look at that. as I'm breaking this down for you. You know, what we are getting in these situations in this market is that you've already enjoyed the bullish returns on Bitcoin. You've now made a lot of money. Bitcoin has gone from 20,000 to 65,000, so you're feeling like a bloody genius. You've just tripled your money in the space of, I don't know, like 4 months, which is ridiculous. And so you're feeling very, very smart. And with that, with feeling smart, with feeling like a genius, guess what you're also feeling? Feeling very bloody greedy. You're going to be feeling very greedy when you make that much money, because that's just how money works on your psychology, and we all know this as a fact. So you know, when people are feeling that level of greed, they're looking for, you know, like junkies, like bloody crack cocaine junkies, looking for how they can reproduce that high and how they can get the next high in these markets, how they can massively blow up their account again in these markets. And one of the key ways you can do that is by jumping into the much more speculative, risky, smaller markets in these crypto spaces. And that's why we see money flooding into Ethereum, flooding into coins like Cardano, after Bitcoin has already had its sunshine. You know, Bitcoin was the main one. Everyone jumps ship onto the other coins when they feel greedy, when they feel like geniuses. And you know, and this is all about perspective, right? Bitcoin is the big, you know, Bitcoin is like the sun, and then there's, you know, the smaller planets that revolve around it. But it's all about perspective, because then, you know, there's Bitcoin as the sun, and then there's the solar system, which would be like the S&P 500 in terms of size. And this is a really very important comparison to be making, because those of you who do pay attention to traditional markets, you're going to know very well that actually Bitcoin moves up very nicely when the conventional economy is moving nicely as well, and that's purely because, especially at times like this now, when Bitcoin is so big, it needs bigger money to drive it forward, bigger than 2015, for example, and you're only going to be getting that bigger money if you if you're attracting the institutional players that are investors and stuff like that, suit and collar, white collar, suit and tie people, who are in these markets, in the more conventional markets. If they're making money, then they're looking like junkies again for how they can get the next big reward, the next big profit. I need to go very, very soon, so I'm probably going to be wrapping this up relatively soon, but that's why we're seeing big red signs in this market right here, right? Why we're seeing so much blood in this market right now. I'm seeing a lot of opportunity, though. I want to see these coins drop a little bit more. Like Cardano against the US dollar is really not doing that badly. It's holding its level really nicely. I don't like that. Ethereum against the dollar is actually gaining. So you can see how these markets against the dollar are not doing very badly. It's just that Bitcoin against Bitcoin is outperforming them. If we look at dominance, for example, it's a very, very clear sign right here where Bitcoin is obviously gaining quite a bit of dominance in this market. It actually hasn't had this much dominance in the market since August of 2021, which is actually fairly recently. But beyond that, I mean, the last time that, when we originally slipped below this level, we're going back to May of this year, and I mean, previously the market had a lot more Bitcoin had a lot more dominance than this. So are we looking at massively rising up? I don't know. This is not the analysis I typically do. But what I do know for sure is that this is happening because Bitcoin right now looks really healthy. So as soon as Bitcoin has kind of finished its rally, you are going to start seeing that money flooding back into the altcoin market. And I want to be there to trade it. I don't like the altcoins. I don't really care very much for them. But what I do want is I want to make money from them. I want to make more Bitcoin, right? And to me, it doesn't matter if I'm using Doge or any other shit coin, including, whatever. I mean, whatever you like, it's probably a shit coin. I don't mind using it to make more money. I just want to make more Bitcoin, and these altcoins can be a very, very nice way to do that. So as soon as we kind of look at, these markets entering some of those nice buy levels, Ethereum, for example. I mean, Ethereum, it doesn't look weak right now, in my opinion, but I mean, if it were to drop, I'd be looking at buying towards, the high 2000s, something like that. Cardano, a very, very clear buy level for me would be about $1.80, which I outlined to you before. Look at how beautifully we bounced off this area of support. Very, very nice there. That analysis coming in absolutely clutch in this market. And then $1.50 as well. This is the key level that I really want to buy Cardano down at. I don't know if we're going to fall down that low, but if we do, it would be phenomenal. And the same thing kind of applies to the rest of the market. I mean, the rest of the market is moving in broadly similar ways. It's not moving that badly, all things considered. But of course, compared to Bitcoin, it is definitely falling back. So that's kind of my take on these markets. I am definitely quite bullish on them when they approach some more juicy buy levels. Right now, I don't think we're there. And I do definitely think that there's a fair bit more potential for Bitcoin to keep on outshining the rest of the market. So I'm quite happy to stay in Bitcoin right now. Someone's asking, where do I live for flies? I thought London was a shithole, but that view is class. Yeah, London is definitely not a nice place in my opinion anymore. But this is Dubai, and definitely Dubai is very much, I would imagine, in its prime right now. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me on that one, but I think for what I'm seeing right now, do you know what? My opinion on Dubai has changed a little bit. I've just kind of seen that Dubai has kept peaking and peaking and peaking. You know, it's not like it peaks once and then massively falls down. Of course, it really got smashed in the you know, 07, 08 crash and different things like that, and it did take a while to recover from that. But you know, I look around now, and it looks healthier than any other city I've been to in a while, in terms of, you know, current state economically and whatever. So this is definitely a good place to be, 100%. Thanks for the update. Always got a great perspective on this market. You're very welcome, Conrad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If we have any final questions, then please drop them here. Otherwise, I will be heading off. Shiba Inu is also one of them. You guys really want me to look at Shiba. Let's take a look at this. I don't know which chart. Let's just use FTX. It's the no, that's not good. Fucking hell, this is a crazy chart. This is what I don't get, guys. You guys asked me to analyze charts like this. Like, what analysis can I give you? It's just gone straight up in a lightsaber pattern. I mean, like, there's no analysis. This is just pure stupidity on it, on a chart. I mean, you know, like, there's no reason to be in this market. You know, I mean, you're just asking to get burned. I mean, you know, eventually this thing is going to crash. It's so obvious. The last time I told you guys something like this so clearly was GameStop, and if you want to take a look at how that went for GameStop, yeah, you know, I mean, and the last time I was telling you guys about this, GameStop was trading all the way up here. So you know, you should not be kidding yourself. And you know, things like Shiba, if you see something's up by 100%, 200%, and you feel like jumping in, you're a very emotional trader, you're a very emotional investor, and you're just not respecting your money enough. You know, that's just not the way you're going to get rich. You're not going to get rich chasing trains like that. It might work now, it might work for the next one you take, but you're going to gain an irrational level of confidence if you entertain those kind of strategies, and that confidence will be what inevitably crashes you back down. There are exceptions. There are people who are exceptionally good at this, perhaps on the autistic spectrum, and they're actually able to navigate those risks very well and do quite well despite how terrible that strategy is. And to those exceptions, bloody hell, more power to you. Good for you. I'm glad you can pull it off. Most people can't, though, and that's why I take this much more realistic approach in this market. Do I hold more Bitcoin than alts right now? Yeah, I've always hold more Bitcoin than alts. I mean, it's like 90% Bitcoin, 5% Ethereum, and Swissborg. I mean, you know, it's always been that way. What's my definition of a shitcoin? Anything that's not Bitcoin or Ethereum is most likely a shitcoin. What is your opinion on leverage trades in periods of consolidation? It's dangerous. I mean, we're consolidating. I mean, I don't know what more I can say about that. Leverage trading is always dangerous, but you have to know how to use it. It's like a chainsaw. I mean, a chainsaw can literally kill you, or it can actually be a very useful tool. So, you know, leverage is kind of the same thing in my opinion. Are we confirmed more or less in a bull run again? I would say so. Yeah, I think this is pretty bullish, like a bull run for sure. I am awesome. Thanks. You are awesome. Thank you very much as well. Yeah, an interesting fact about the Burj Khalifa someone pointed out is that it doesn't have a sewage system, so they fill trucks with tanks to remove sewage from the building. Yeah, that is definitely an interesting fact about the Burj Khalifa, but I can think of much worse flaws for buildings than that. So I'm actually more impressed that logistically they've never had a problem with it, because that does sound like a bit of a logistical nightmare, having sewage dump trucks. You know, for such a tall building. All right, let's go through a couple. Oh, by the way, this comment I made about, you know, you've got to be on the autistic spectrum to pull it off, that wasn't supposed to cause offense. Actually, being on the autistic spectrum is one of the best things that can happen to you if you're a trader. So I wish I was much further down that spectrum, if anything. What else do we have here? Do you think Bitcoin will ever flatline and stop being tradable? It's possible, but I mean, there's no point talking about that right now. How long have I lived in Dubai? 1 year. Alright, okay guys, I'm going to head off. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Hopefully this live stream has cleared things up for you, given you a better perspective on what's going on in the market. If you have, you already know what to do. The like, subscribes, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel so much. Again, these are just little clicks for you. You know, I mean, it's going to take you 2 seconds, but it helps the channel so much. So I really do appreciate the support that you guys show it. If you don't want to do it, fine, whatever, it's okay. But and if you do find these videos useful, then yes, it is very, very nice from me. Once again, if you want to sign up to the exchange that I'm using and get some free cash as a result, then you can sign up using my link in the description to Bybit, where you can get some extra cash deposited into your account when you make your first deposit using my link. And once again, if you want to see exactly how I'm trading this market in real time, you can also do that by following these quick steps on screen right here. You can do it right now, and within 30 seconds, you'll have all the information about Foresight VIP, including the pricing and exactly what you get. You get a lot, so it's definitely well worth checking out. All right, guys, I really hope you have enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all in the next one.